Hi, my name is James Bredney, and I'll be going over this presentation with you called Teaching English Language Learners. Okay, so let's go over the agenda. What is an English language learner or a ELL? What are some traits or characteristics of English language learners? What diagnostic tools exist to classify English language learners? How many English language learners are there? Where do they live? What are the laws that relate to them? What families can do to help English language learners achieve academic success? Um, what can teachers do? What can communities do? What can schools do to help English language learners achieve success? So, what is an English language learner? An English language learner is someone who's in the process of learning English and whose primary language is not English. What are some characteristics of English language learners? Their native language is not English. Um, the learner is in a school environment where English is necessary for success, though the learner may not live in a neighborhood where English is not widely spoken, such as an enclave community. The majority language is English, and English is the dominant language. What are some traits of English language learners? Well, most of them, believe it or not, were born in America. 3.8 or 72% of English language learners speak Spanish. Other languages include Chinese, Arabic, and Vietnamese. What diagnostic tools exist to classify English language learners? Well, there's a home language survey that the student takes home to his parents, and the parents fill it out. And typically, the school district will follow up with a phone call from with an interpreter, and then there'll be an English language proficiency test for the student. How many ELLs are there? There's about 10.6% of the student population, or 5.3 million nationwide, are English language learners. And in Florida, that number is in excess of 360,000 students. Where do they live? Well, in the United States, they live in California, New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, Colorado, and Alaska, well over above 10%. Five states are at or around 10%, and they include Hawaii, Kansas, Florida, Oregon, Hawaii again. The national average is about 6.9%. What about in the state of Florida? The number one place is Miami-Dade County, where just under 20%, or one out of every five students, is an English language learner. That is Broward is close second, followed by Palm Beach, Hillsborough County, which is in Tampa, and then Orange County, which is in Orlando. So, what laws relate to English language learners? A lot of this comes from court cases. Castellana versus Pickard. That court case states that a school district programs for English language learners have to be sound. Um, they have to have adequate practices, staff, and resources. And if the program's not working, it must be stopped. There's Pyler versus Doe, and that demanded that school districts educate students irregardless of their immigration status. And then there's Lau versus Nichols, and that was a major civil rights case brought by Chinese American students living in California, in which the Supreme Court ruled in 1974, 51 years ago, that schools had failed to adequately teach limited English students and that they had to. What can schools do to for English language learners to achieve success? Well, they can do a couple things. They can set up a class period where English language learners attend a class as an elective or as an English class. They can have a pull-out program where a short period of the day or the week where they receive specialized instruction or tutoring. They can offer a sheltered class where the major subject matter teachers teach a class modified to accommodate English language learners in English. They can do bilingual education where English language learners speak their native language and the teacher teaches in both the native language and English. What can teachers do to help English language learners? They can familiarize themselves with some of the terms and phrases. Those include bilingual education, and that's a classroom model where kids learn in their native language and in English. And this transition takes about 3 years. And it goes to a English as a second language with limited, if any, instruction in their native language. Generally, the teacher teaches both native language and English at the same time. What's going on? There's the English only movement, and it's a belief that bilingual education is a failed practice, and the students need to learn English and that they learn it faster if they're taught only in English. Um, there's another classroom model that teachers should know about. It's called ESL, where the teacher doesn't speak the native language of the students, but he has specialized training in teaching English language learners. Limited English proficient or LEP. That's students that are unable to communicate effectively in English. And then there's English language learners, and I've already gone over it, but I'll go over it again. It's a person whose native language is not English, but is in the process of learning English. What can families do? Well, a family should speak English at home. They should make it a priority to teach their children English, to talk to them in English, to learn English themselves. That's the first and probably the most important thing to gaining success because children will be assessed in English. But short of that, families should encourage kids to use dictionaries and reference materials to understand complex subjects. Families can foster a positive environment and celebrate small improvements. They can also keep consistent schedules for such as waking up, doing homework, bedtime to provide stability, and create a structured study environment and read together. And just a fact that families that provide quiet, organized areas, consistent areas for people to do homework, they just do better than parents and families that don't. If you're a good parent, you're going to do well in school, whether you're an English language learner or not. I'm doing my presentation. And these are my references. And what are your questions?
What are you talking?
I'm giving a presentation.
What's a presentation?
It's something I have to do for school.